Deep into the eyes, read them like a book. Trapped inside a prison, gotta free them like a crook. Make off with the loot, made off for the joke. Treated like these cowards never needed what we took, and we repeat it like a hook. Caught in the deep, come back like Weezy, card 3.
Yes, y'all. Welcome to the show, Smoke the Competition. I'm your host, Eric Sojash. You can give us a follow on Twitter at Sojash Sports. Please like and subscribe. Today, we're going to be discussing the Monday Night Football games. First one I want to have a look at is between the Philadelphia Eagles. They travel south to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, followed by the matchup between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a Super Bowl rematch. Should be a great game. I'm going to give you all the little tips that I have going into this game, who you should lay your money on, who do I think is going to perform big in fantasy football, and inevitably, who's going to win the game. So sit back, enjoy the show. Let's go. The first thing I want to do is break down those fantasy lineups. Let's have a look at who you should be starting. All right, kicking things off with the Philadelphia Eagles. First player I see as an absolute must start in your fantasy lineups is quarterback Jalen Hurts. Not really much to question here. He's a dual threat quarterback. Even when the arm is not producing, the legs are. He should be able to move the ball relatively effective against this Tampa Bay defense. Now, they are a pretty good defense. Gave him fits the first time they met in his young career in the playoffs. So I know he has that marked in the back of his head. I can see Jalen having himself a pretty solid performance. Get him in your lineups. Don't think twice about it. The next Eagle you should be starting here, I see him as a good start, not a must start, is running back DeAndre Swift. He's coming off a 178-yard rushing game where he was just tearing it up against the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. He's going to look to follow that up. Now, the Eagles do like to play musical chairs with their running back. Kenny Gainwell is healthy. He did miss the last game with a rib injury. That's fully healed, apparently, so he's going to be a full go as well. But I think the Eagles are going to ride the hot hand. Swift is the superior talent in this backfield. Get him in your lineups. I have him in a lineup as a starting running back. I'm expecting big points from him. Once again, I do see him as a good start, not a must start, but you can definitely play him if you don't have a better option and feel pretty confident about it. All right, another Eagles player we're going to look at here is wide receiver A.J. Brown. This man is a must start. He is coming off a bit of a low performance, hasn't found the end zone yet this season. I do think that's coming this week. Him and Jalen had a little spat on the sidelines. It's all love. Brothers do this. I've done this so many times with my family, my friends. That's just how it is when you're competing. You're going to get your emotions running hot. You want the win. You want the ball. You want to be able to perform at your highest capabilities. I think he will do that this week. Get him in your lineups. A.J. Brown is a must start. Now, alongside A.J., we got his counterpart, Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper. This man is a route king. He can run routes like the best of them in just a short amount of time in his NFL career. He's already proven that. Now, he is coming into this game a little banged up. I think they mentioned something with his hamstring along with his quad. He is a guy that does take uber care of his body. I do have a lot of faith in Devontae maintaining that health. There was concerns coming out of college that slender frame was not going to hold up. He hasn't missed a game yet. I don't anticipate him missing a game on Monday. Get him in your lineups. He's a must start. Already has a great connection with Hurts, and I don't see that changing. Okay, moving over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First player I want to discuss is their quarterback, Baker Mayfield. In his first year with Tampa, Baker has looked great. I got to admit it. I didn't trust it coming in. I thought he might be shaky. The career was looking like it was on a downward spiral, but Baker's hit the ground running here. 2 weeks straight, he's been a very productive quarterback. I see him this week as a good start. That Eagles secondary has been terrible so far. They got eaten up in both performances so far, one by Mac Jones, one by Kirk Cousins. Similar quarterbacks to a Baker Mayfield. I see him having a decent performance here. Low ceiling, but a high floor. I have him in one league. I got to get him in as Anthony Richardson's injured. If you're in the same boat as me, run with Baker Mayfield. He should produce at a decent clip. Now, coming out of the backfield for Tampa Bay, they're going to be led by running back Rachaad White. This week, I see Rashad as a risky start. He had a bit of a good breakout last week, finally was able to produce for the fantasy owners that invested in him. This week, he's coming into that Eagles defense. The strength is the D-line. The strength is going to be in the interior. I don't see him having many rush lanes to run through. They're going to be coming after him and Baker Mayfield all day long. It's going to be the passing game that's going to be successful for Tampa. If he is able to find himself some receptions in full PPR leagues, I would see him as an okay start. But for me, he is a risky start. If you don't have another option, I do understand with those crazy injuries at running back. But for me, I got Rashad on the bench. I'm not starting him. To me, he's a big risk. Now, one player that's absolutely not a risk is wide receiver Mike Evans. This guy has been absolutely dominant, even with Baker throwing him the ball. That was my big concern coming into the season. I got no shares of Mike Evans. Shame on me. The guy has absolutely been tearing it up. Nothing is going to change this week. I know my guy Big Play Slay is going to be on him. I'm not sure if he's going to shadow him, but he should be matched up on him as often as possible. Still don't think he'll be able to completely erase him. Evans has been consistent as they come. This guy's already built a Hall of Fame resume. He's continuing that this year, making Baker Mayfield look like a great quarterback. Get him in your lineups. He's a must start everywhere you can. Mike Evans, smash that button and get him in. All right, and now his counterpart, the slot/outside receiver Chris Godwin, hasn't been as exciting as Mike Evans, not nearly getting as much volume or the big plays, but he is getting a lot of the underneath work. Very safe in PPR formats. He's got a very safe floor. I'm playing him in one league where I got full PPR points, expecting him to put up around 10 to 15 points today. Hopefully he's able to get that touchdown for you. Otherwise, Godwin is one of those safe plays. I see him as a good play. He's not a must start until he starts getting some more red zone work, but he is a good safe floor, especially in deeper leagues. So, who gets the win and by how much? All right, now while I am picking the Eagles to get the victory, I don't see them winning by more than 5 points. I'm laying the money on Tampa Bay at home, +5. They should be able to keep this game close, and like I previously mentioned, I don't trust that Eagles secondary. I think Baker and this offense, with Mike Evans dominating, they're going to be able to move the ball enough to score enough points to keep this game close. I can see the Eagles pulling the victory out in the end by a field goal, but I'm laying the points +5. Let's go Tampa Bay. All right, moving over to the other Monday night game, discussing your must starts here. I have Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the LA Rams, as a good start. Now, typically, Matthew's on a trajectory right now this year of a must start player. He's playing phenomenal football. I've watched both games very closely. This guy has been dissecting defenses pre-snap, post-snap, escaping the pass rush like his youthful days. I'm not sure where he got this juice from, but Stafford is balling out. He's a good start this week on the road. Somewhat of a tough matchup, but the way he's playing, I couldn't bench him unless I had one of those elite quarterbacks. I'd feel safe playing him with a safe floor. He's a good start. And one of the reasons why Stafford is off to such a great start is running back Kyren Williams. He's stolen this backfield from Cam Akers, who actually was recently shipped out to Minnesota. Hopefully he can find some positivity over there. But for the Rams, Kyren is the man. He's leading this backfield in every which way, shape, and form. He's dominating touches. He's making the most of his touches. I see him as a must start this week. Get him in your lineups. He's going to get a lot of volume, probably score a touchdown. Get him in your lineups and feel confident about it. Kyren Williams to the moon. Another reason why the Rams are dominating on offense so far this season is wide receiver Puka Nacua. That's right. This rookie out of nowhere has taken the league by storm. He's got this cool name, reminds you of the Lion King. Puka Nacua, no worries. It's a wonderful phrase. He's out here just setting records. Stafford is looking at him at an unbelievable clip, throwing to him like he's the 2023 version of Megatron. I don't see that changing on Monday night. He had a bit of an oblique injury, same thing he had last week. That didn't stop him from getting 15 targets against the San Francisco 49ers vaunted defense. I don't think that's going to change against another pretty good defense in the Bengals, but Puka just finds those soft zones. If they play man, he knows how to run away from coverage. Kid looks like he's ready to be one of the real ones. Get him in your lineup. He's a must start. feel good about it. Sit back and enjoy the Monday night game, and let's cheer for Puka together. And the other part of the Rams wide receiving core that's tearing up in this early season is Tutu Atwell. A lot of people may have wrote him off, didn't think he's going to be able to translate in the NFL, but here he is doing his thing. Looks like him and Matthew Stafford have a good rapport. He's been actually making big plays in the long game, the short game, the quick game, third down conversions. He's been everywhere on the field. I'm quite surprised at Tutu so far, but I got him in one of my lineups. I think he's a good start this week. Hasn't quite reached must-start territory, but he is a good start, has a safe floor. He's getting a lot of targets, and he's making the most of them. Get him in your lineups. He is a good start this week. Let's go Tutu. All right, moving over to the Cincinnati Bengals. We got Joe Burrow, superstar quarterback. I'm seeing Joe this week as a risky start. I know that's a bit of a headline here, but that calf injury is serious. He's not able to fully push off of it. It looks like he can be re-aggravated at any time. They're saying he's going to play on Monday night's game, barring any setbacks. Even if he does start the game, there's no guarantee that he's going to finish. The way they're playing hasn't looked good. Burrow himself, I think he just needs to fully heal before we can trust him. They should lean on the run game if they want to keep this game competitive and make sure that they're in it. This is a must-win kind of situation for Cincinnati, so I can see them definitely leaning on that run game. I'm not playing Joe Burrow unless I have absolutely no choice. And speaking of leaning on that run game, Joe Mixon is going to be that running back that they have to lean on. I see him as a must-start this week. I'm getting him in the lineups where I have him. He's not somebody that I heavily invested in this year. I did think that the Bengals talking about pay cuts and things of that nature wasn't a good sign for his production this year. However, as previously mentioned with the Joe Burrow calf injury and the lack of ability for him to escape the pocket, they have to rely on the run this week. They need a win. To get that win, they're going to have to ride the running game. Joe Mixon's the guy to use. I can see him having a big week. Let's get him in our lineups. He is a must start. Okay, now we're going to have to discuss one of my big concerns of the week. Wide receiver Jamar Chase. He's fallen from must-start territory to good start territory. I'm not saying you bench him, but he is a player that now is looked at as a good start, not necessarily a smash play. Until further notice, we need Joe Burrow's calf to heal, or we need to see this offense get clicking. This week, I'm seeing him as a good start. Should be able to produce at a decent clip, but until I see that offense get going, I'm not going to fully trust it. I'm heavily invested in Jamar, so I'm definitely hoping for him to turn it around real soon. Let's get that touchdown on Monday night, Jamar, and get the city of Cincinnati cheering and feeling good about you again. I see him as a good start, but not a must start. All right, and Chase's running mate, T. Higgins. Typically, this pair is seen as a must start. You put them in your lineups and you don't think twice about it. I usually love to bet on talent. These two are two of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. But with the calf injury, as I previously mentioned to Joe Burrow, it's just hard to bet on it right now. So I do see T as a must start in the future when that injury is healed up. But for the time being, him and Jamar are good starts. You can get them in your lineup, but you will have to temper expectations. I'm going to look forward to see how they use these two on Monday Night Football with or without Joe Burrow, and that's going to determine a lot for how we can place them going forward. As I mentioned, they're usually must-starts, but this week I got Chase and T. Higgins as a good start. So who gets the win and by how much? All right, and in this matchup, I'm going with the LA Rams on the road at +2.5. I think they can actually pull out the victory outright. Just don't like what I'm seeing with Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati Bengals offense. They are in a desperation situation where they will be looking to get that victory instead of starting 0-3, so they probably will put their best foot forward. But I like what the Rams have been doing these past 2 weeks. They played some pretty good competition, split it down the middle, gone 1-1. I can see them coming into this game well prepared and giving Cincinnati everything they can handle and more. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. Give us a follow. Once again, subscribe to the channel. I'm Eric Sojash. Peace, love. Let's continue to smoke the competition.
Deep into the eyes, read them like a book. Trapped inside a prison, gotta free them like a crook. Make off with the loot, made off for the joke. Treated like these cowards never needed what we took, and we repeat it like a hook. Caught in the deep, come back like Wheezy, card 3.